So to no one's surprise, Season 3 of Isekai Quartet has been confirmed, but it is nice to have that official confirmation before the episode even ends. Because even though you know it's getting more, sometimes they do leave you off on a few months, a few seasons before you get that confirmation. But Isekai Quartet Season 3 will be coming, I imagine, either by the end of this year or the early of next year, and I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, Isekai Quartet Season 2 was even better than the first season. Everything that I personally loved about Season 1 was seen here, except all the characters and their interactions just felt a lot more naturally developed, as if, yeah, they've actually been classmates for a decent amount of time, so the way they bounce off of each other, how they rub off on each other, so you'll have lines from an Overlord character be said by a ReZero character, or vice versa, right? It's nice how it just feels like they're actually a group of classmates kind of like growing up in a school setting over a long period of time, and I just assume over however many seasons they want to make of Isekai Quartet, it's just going to feel all the more natural and great as we also add in new characters like the Cautious or Shield hero, right? It's really interesting how they actually brought out even more hilarious shenanigans while still adding on to the cast at hand. This episode, would I have loved to see Naofumi's play and just him as the duckling? Of course. But honestly, despite me wanting to see that, I'm actually really happy with the flow of this episode, where it's half battle and half Cinderella play, and I have to say, that is one of, if not the best paced episodes of Isekai Quartet. I mean, I got a question, like, I know what's going on through Rem and Ram's head because they're sisters, they just love each other, like, to them, that would be nothing, like, they wouldn't think of it as anything other than that, but you know exactly what the creators were intending with that kiss and things like that. It's just hilarious because from, like, say, like, Super's perspective, if he sees that, right? He knows, like, he's gonna be like, wait a second, I know what this is. But for them, they would just be like, oh, Subaru, you're just a horn dog, right? It's just hilarious to see how they directed the Cinderella play, because I don't know why, I just assumed it was going to be fairly normal with just some slight alterations, but if you have Ram as Cinderella, you're going to have the sassiest bitch around. And I love how the play immediately starts off by just like darkness getting soaked in water and then her getting mopped up. Like Isekai Quartet. Never change. Never change. Honestly, like, in comparison to Season 1's ending with the Destroyer battle, with Season 2's mixed with the play, Season 2 hits it out of the park 10 times over. I mean, I love the first season and how it concluded. I thought it was great. But comparing Season 1 to Season 2, I just feel like Season 2 escalated the quality tenfold, and the finale was so much more interesting. Not only was it even more flashy than Season 1's ending, I mean, you're just seeing these girls be total badasses. Hell, we even had Aqua actually be decent in this episode. I thought she was just gonna do one water attack and that was it, but she gets pissed off in this episode, and then you get Aura, and I mean, like, just the amount of times you look over and you'll see characters like Amelia be like, oh, I think I'm supposed to do a champ because that's what Megami says, and just Puck will be like, yeah, just don't, I think in this case it's fine to ignore her. It's just great how the characters are actually rubbing off on each other. So the things that they do or the things that they'll say and just how characters get influenced, such as the such sweet and innocent Amelia, and then she's taking advice from one of the most delusional characters who probably doesn't even have to say a chant to do incredible spells, but she does so anyway, which then causes her party a lot of misfortune. It was great to see how instead of just like focusing on the battle and then focusing on the play, they split it up non-stop. Like every 30 seconds you're cutting back and forth. Sure, it kicks off at the beginning and you're seeing the play, and you're like, okay, this is a Cinderella play, I guess. It's kind of a little weird, but I mean, okay, let's see where we're gonna go here. And then you'll see some great battle content, and then they just keep bouncing around. That bouncing around was such a fun flow. I mean, Season 1's Destroyer battle was fun and all, but it was a lot more, I would say, basic in design compared to what we're seeing here. Because it's so hilarious to think that these characters not only have to deal with a giant mechanical monster, they also have to put on a play, which is equally important because this is Isekai Quartet. And that is so ridiculous, as if there's some overlord superpower saying not only do you have to deal with this foe that could kill you, you also have to ace your test, you also have to put on a stunning play, because this is Isekai Quartet. I mean, in terms of the most memorable moment, I'm still going to say it is Rem's confession, and how she twisted it in such a hilarious way, but honestly, the Cinderella play is a very, very close second. I love that. Honestly, I think you could give me an entire season of Isekai Quartet that is just plays. Literally have 12 episodes, just take different children's plays throughout all the ages, and have the characters mix and match and just put on a show. That would be hilarious. You could honestly do maybe even 2 seasons of that before I think it would grow stale. And then every so often throw in a conflict that they have to deal with at the same time. It's just so great to see how characters had such a relevant role and they just completely bombed it, like how the fairy godmother she just wanted to keep chatting and chatting and chatting, and the horse is just like, God damn it, can we shut her up? And they all recognize, like, even if you told her to keep it short, this girl's too delusional to keep it short. It's pretty good, I have to say. Like, I mean, they definitely went all in with the Cinderella love. I thought they were going to do more like teasing and playfulness just because, you know, it'd bait the fans in, but no, they went full in with it. And I just can imagine like just Rem and Ram just like responding to the characters being shocked at that, being like, what do you mean? You guys are stupid. That's just how their sisterly love would work out, but for everyone else watching, they know what it is. It's just hilarious to see what this episode did. I thought I had a pretty good understanding. I thought we were going to have, like, you know, Cinderella, then the Duckling, and then maybe some Destroyer, but no, they just completely hit it out of the park. I was actually surprised by how flashy it was, because there's definitely been moments of Flash where Ainz has done something great, or Megumin has done something great, but just the amount of lasers and destructions and how the actual battle was surprisingly complex for Isekai Quartet standards. I mean, not only do you have to just, like, deal with it with brute force, you have to deflect the missiles, you have to use water and then freeze it, and just all the kind of combinations of all the abilities. I'm glad that they actually were able to just smack some sense into the Destroyer, and it's really nice to say that this Destroyer battle doesn't feel comparable to Season 1, despite it being the same enemy. And I'm really hoping that if they continue to introduce the Destroyer, or if this is going to be the last time we're going to see it, it will be interesting to see if they're going to do yet again another escalation and just twisting of what we expect, or if maybe in Season 3 onwards for the next couple of seasons, we'll see a completely different threat that will kind of shake up their school near the end of every season. But it is nice to see that there is those like core elements that just stay true. Hey, maybe if you do this, you might be able to go home. No character believes it, and just things seemingly go back to where they started off. Them in a classroom, them being shocked, clearly building up to a more serious endgame plot while still being hilarious all in the process. And that's great. It's crazy with this season though. I mean, just the voice actors. They did so well. I'm trying to decide who was my favorite, like, just reaction or just my favorite performance in the season. And honestly, it kind of felt like the cast as a whole rose to the occasion. Like, you can look at certain episodes, you can look at, like, Rem's confession, you can look at some Amelia moments, you can look at some Subaru or now Fumi moments, things like that. And it's great for sure. But honestly, I felt like the cast overall, now that they're a little more comfortable, like, yeah, you have the original voice actors, they know how to act to their character roles because they are those characters in their original series. But I feel like with Season 1, it was good, but it wasn't as extreme in terms of quality that I think they could. But I think that goes perfectly hand in hand with just the characters in general being like, why the hell was I suffering and now I'm in school? This makes zero sense. But now that they've had a season's worth of content to get more comfortable, I feel like their personalities felt even more organic to their original character, as if, yes, this 100% is Subaru, this 100% is Cosma. It just felt like they got a lot more comfortable with their performance, and I can just imagine the insanity that we're going to see in Season 3. I still think it'd be hilarious if we only see Cautious Hero like one time in Season 3. He just pops up for one thing, he either deals with something or just is like, you know, I was considering it, I've been working out for 7 episodes, but you know what? I'm just not ready yet. It'd be hilarious to just have, like, imagine Season 6 comes around, it's the final season. We've seen the Cautious Hero pop up 3 times, and he's finally ready for that battle, and by the time he gets there, the battle's already over. He's like, well, works for me. There's just so many ways to write the comedy in this show, and it's so damn good. I mean, this show was one of the absolute best parts of winter 2020. It may not end up being like your anime of the season, but it's one of those shows that if you like it, you really like it. Meaning that it's gonna be one of the shows that you're hyping up the most for yourself every single week, like I absolutely did every single time. This was a show that it perks your mood up. It doesn't matter how good or bad of a day you're having. It's going to be even better as soon as you watch an episode of Isekai Quartet, and I've rewatched a lot of these episodes already, but hell, I'm going to go rewatch both seasons because it is just such a treat. Isekai Quartet Season 2 was a blast. We all expected to like it. I mean, if you walked into Season 2, you probably already liked Season 1 to some degree, but honestly, the comedy was better, it was flashier at certain moments, and just the banter felt a lot more organic, and even though, yes, the first half of the season, Shield Hero wasn't utilized as much as I would have liked, and you could even say with this episode, he wasn't utilized as much as he could, but I mean, Raftalia had some great moments, Philo had some great moments, so it just took some time to get them more introduced to the cast, and I'm perfectly fine with that. As long as I can walk out of a season and say, like, there was definitely a memorable moment for all of the characters at some point in time, or at least from their series, I'm more than happy, because this is a simple series by design, and that simplicity is what makes it so memorable. It's not the flashiest with its basic presentation. These are chibi models. Sure, if there's lasers and magic, it's going to look pretty damn special, but for the most part, it's simple by design, and so is its dialogue. But the fact that it stayed true to all of its series, and the fact that I could walk out saying I could actually see a ReZero character try to mimic a Konosuba character just because of their personality, that only happens if you truly know the source material, and I, once again, can't thank the production committee enough for putting together this series and just continuing to want to pump it out, because honestly, give it to me every single year, and I've been saying it, I think 10 seasons, maybe at that point I'd get a little stale of it, but 10 seasons, I could definitely see myself watching. Realistically, we'll probably get 5 or 6, but as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions either on this episode or season overall of Isekai Quartet Season 2, and how excited are you for Season 3 in the future? Do let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.